Welcome to Module 5, our last module. Today, we're exploring the importance of continuous learning in our organization. We're focusing on setting EDI best practices, actively working on actionable feedback, fostering cross-cultural mentorship, and leveraging inclusion and diversity training for all team members. These initiatives are crucial for creating an inclusive and supportive workplace environment where every individual feels valued and empowered. Let's explore how these practices contribute to our growth and success as a team. Setting EDI, equity, diversity, and inclusion practices involves establishing clear policies that promote fairness and equal opportunities. It begins with raising awareness among all stakeholders about the importance of EDI principles and ensuring their visibility throughout the organization. Engagement plays a key role in actively involving employees in EDI initiatives, supported by comprehensive training programs to foster understanding and skill development. Providing ongoing support is essential to sustaining EDI efforts, while forging community partnerships enhances outreach and impact. Feedback mechanisms are crucial for continuously improving EDI practices, ensuring they remain responsive and effective in creating an inclusive workplace culture. As we seek best practices for implementing EDI in workplaces, let us watch this video. It demonstrates how we can implement strategies to raise team members' awareness of unconscious biases, promote a culture of inclusivity, and ensure fair and equitable decision-making processes.
We all have our biases, the set of assumptions that we make and the things we don't notice about people's race, gender, religion, sexual orientation, appearance, and other traits. They come from the part of our mind that jumps to conclusions that we might not even be aware that we have.
I really can't tell you the number of times people assumed I was the receptionist when I was an executive at the company.
That kind of bias gets in the way of good collaboration, performance, and decision-making.
It creates an invisible tax of resentment and frustration. The more frustrated we are, the more silent we are likely to be. And the more silent we are, the less we may be able to do our best work. The good news, though, is bias is not inevitable. So here's how to disrupt bias in 3 steps. The first step is to create a shared vocabulary. Sometimes bias shows up in big, embarrassing gaffes, but more often it comes out in the little words and phrases we choose, which are packed with assumptions. In meetings especially, these often go unnoticed, or even worse, people notice, but don't know what to say. That's why we recommend coming up with a shared word or phrase that everyone agrees to use to disrupt bias, attitudes, or behaviors. Examples teams are using are bias alert, stoplight, or even throwing up a peace sign.
Leaders often ask us to give them the right words, but the best words are the ones your team will actually say, not the ones that leaders impose. So talk to your team. My very favorite is the one that you recommended, Trier, purple flag. When someone says or does something biased, we'll say purple flag, and maybe we'll even wave a purple flag. It's not a red flag, it's a friendly purple flag.
It helps us become more aware of our blind spots.
Purple flag.
Purple flag. Thanks for pointing that out. I've been noticing lately I use a lot of sight metaphors that often portray disabilities like being visually impaired in negative ways, but I'm committed to doing better and working on it.
I am too. Another great shared vocabulary trick is to ask members of your team to respond to bias with an I statement. An I statement invites the other person in to understand things from your perspective rather than calling them out. Like, I don't think you're gonna take me seriously when you're calling me honey, or I don't think you meant that the way that it sounded. Usually, when people's biases are pointed out to them clearly and compassionately, they apologize and correct things going forward. Usually, but not always.
That brings us to the second step. Create a shared norm for how to respond when your bias is pointed out.
When my bias is flagged, I can only be glad that I'm learning something new if I can move past the shame. I hate the idea that I've harmed someone. And when I feel ashamed, I rarely respond well. So it's really helpful to have that shared norm so that I know what to say in those moments.
We recommend you start with, "Thank you for pointing that out. It took courage for that person to disrupt the bias, so it's important to acknowledge that." Then there are two choices on what to say next. One, "I get it," or two, "I don't get it. Could you explain more after the meeting?"
The other day, you and I were recording a podcast, and I said HR serves three masters, and you waved the purple flag. I knew what I had done wrong. Why was I using a slavery metaphor? We hit pause, I thanked you, and we re-recorded. It was no big deal. The thing I love about the purple flag is how efficient it is.
Flagging the bias didn't prevent us from getting the work done. In fact, it helps us work together more honestly.
It's even harder when I don't know what I did wrong. Once I asked someone out to lunch. Out came the purple flag. I had no idea why. So I was relieved to know what to say next. "Thank you for pointing it out, but I don't get it. Could we talk after the meeting?" Afterwards, the person reminded me that they were fasting for Ramadan. It instantly made sense to me, and I discovered something that I could be more aware of. But to get to awareness, I had to move through shame. It was hard to say, "I don't get it." The shared norm helped me listen and learn rather than getting defensive. The fact that there was a norm at all reassured me that other people are making similar kinds of mistakes and that we're all learning together.
Disrupting bias may start off feeling uncomfortable, but with time and consistency, we can build the stamina we need to push through it. When it becomes routine for us to notice our biases, all of a sudden, they feel less threatening. It's hard to break bias habits, yet we can change the pattern with consistent effort.
We've got to be patient with ourselves and with others.
Patient and also persistent.
Yeah.
Which brings us to our last step. Once a team has come up with a shared vocabulary and agrees on the shared norm for how to respond, the team should commit to disrupting bias at least once in every meeting.
If bias isn't flagged in a meeting, it doesn't mean there wasn't any bias. It just means either nobody noticed or nobody knew what to say. When we are silent about bias, we reinforce it. And it can't be just the targets of bias who point it out. Observers and leaders have got to speak up. We all have a responsibility.
By making a practice of disrupting bias quickly and kindly, we prevent it from metastasizing into something worse, like prejudice, bullying, discrimination, or harassment.
Bias disruptors, a shared vocabulary, a shared norm, and a shared commitment ensure that we notice and learn from the mistakes that we are all making so that we can work better together.
When we collaborate, we use our full capacity as humans to get more done collectively than we could ever dream of accomplishing as individuals. So let's stop letting bias get in the way.
Achieving best practices in equity, diversity, and inclusion is facilitated by cultivating a diverse workforce that includes individuals from various backgrounds and perspectives. This diversity not only enhances job satisfaction and retention, but also contributes to innovation and creativity within the organization. Regular employee surveys and feedback sessions help assess the effectiveness of EDI initiatives, ensuring continuous improvement. For example, implementing mentorship programs for underrepresented groups or hosting diversity training workshops can further support these efforts, fostering a culture where every employee feels valued and respected. Actionable feedback refers to specific and constructive information provided to individuals that enables them to understand what they did well or where they can improve. It is a feedback that is clear, detailed, and relevant, allowing the recipient to take concrete steps to enhance their performance or behavior. Personality-based feedback raises significant concerns. Firstly, personal feelings towards someone should not influence evaluations of their job performance. Feedback must focus strictly on their workplace achievements rather than suggesting changes to make them more likable. Secondly, such feedback is biased, stemming from personal interpretations and often lacks specificity. Vague feedback is generally unhelpful and doesn't provide clear guidance on strengths or areas needing improvement. Addressing task inequity in a busy restaurant kitchen is crucial for maintaining a positive and productive work environment. In this topic, we'll explore strategies for ensuring fair task distribution, effectively supporting staff, and implementing policies to enhance morale and team efficiency. Now, it's your turn to reflect on a time when a staff member's disproportionate workload negatively impacted their job satisfaction and team morale. How did you address the imbalance and provide the support needed to improve their well-being and maintain a positive work environment? Additionally, think about how you helped newcomers in the kitchen. How did you ensure they felt welcome, understood the workflow, and received the essential training and support? This slide focuses on leveraging our equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives. Our onboarding process now includes orientation on inclusive culture and anti-racism practices to set clear expectations. Professional development sessions led by racialized anti-racist facilitators or experts are now prioritized with dedicated time or compensation. Recognition efforts are also crucial as we acknowledge systemic racism and its impact on privilege and power, often overlooked or unreported. Moving forward, our actions include reframing hiring practices to attract, retain, and promote racialized staff, aiming for a workforce that authentically reflects diversity. Every workplace thrives on a steadfast commitment to equity, diversity, inclusion, and cultural transformation. Embracing diversity means valuing each person's unique background and perspective. Inclusion ensures every employee feels respected and empowered. Transforming culture involves embedding these principles into all aspects of organizational life to promote equity and foster innovation. EDI policies in the workplace become essential because they lay the foundation for fostering a positive and inclusive workplace culture. By explicitly outlining expectations and practices related to equity, diversity, and inclusion, these policies ensure that all employees feel valued, respected, and empowered. They promote fairness and equality by addressing systemic barriers and biases, thereby creating opportunities for individuals from diverse backgrounds to thrive. Additionally, EDI policies help organizations attract and retain talent, enhance teamwork and collaboration, and build trust among employees. Supporting employees effectively involves a multifaceted approach. Regular training through ongoing diversity and inclusion workshops, acting on feedback from both employees and customers, and staying updated with EDI trends are necessary. Additionally, engaging in peer learning, regularly assessing and updating EDI practices, and utilizing resources like online courses and books can significantly enhance our commitment to a supportive and inclusive work environment. Please take some time to reflect on the following questions related to Module 5. Provide thoughtful responses to each question, drawing from your own experiences and observations. Your reflections will contribute to your understanding of cultural dimensions and their impact on interpersonal interactions and teamwork. Consider writing your thoughts down on a piece of paper. Think about the time when you updated your EDI practices. How did continuous learning help you create a more inclusive environment and enhance collaboration with your colleagues? What strategies have you found most effective for continuously learning about EDI practices and fostering inclusivity in your hotel or restaurant? Having completed this training module, you now possess vital competencies in equity, diversity, and inclusion that are directly applicable to the food and beverage sector. Through immersive learning experiences, including real-life workplace scenarios and community engagement, you have gained the ability to articulate and implement EDI practices effectively. You have developed strategies aimed at raising awareness and sustaining EDI efforts within your organization, fostering a workplace environment characterized by respect, inclusivity, and engagement. Armed with these skills, you are well prepared to contribute to creating a bias-free workplace culture where every individual feels appreciated and empowered to thrive. Thank you for taking the time to join us. Your presence and participation were greatly appreciated, and your contributions made the training a success. We look forward to seeing you at future events and continuing our collaboration. Congratulations on completing Module 5. You've successfully reached this milestone. Now, it's time to unpack your learning experiences and apply them in your workplace. Once more, a huge thank you to the newcomer young adults, community profit organizations, food and beverage operators, and sector association representatives who contributed to this work. Explore these references for further insights and a deeper understanding of EDI principles and essential information. Thank you.